As the death toll from the Israeli-Hamas conflict continues to rise, so is the number of wounded. Thousands of injured civilians and soldiers need immediate attention, but overwhelmed medics on the front lines say they are running out of critical supplies and equipment. Rafael Posh joins us now. He's the international media spokesperson for United Hatzalah. It's a free volunteer-based emergency medical services organization operating across Israel. Thank you so much for joining us. United Hatzalah medical teams have been deployed at the front lines, and they were there when the fighting started over the weekend. Tell us more about what your team is doing to help those in need.
Well, right now, what we're doing basically is delivering a lot of humanitarian aid, medicines, medical supplies to people who haven't left their homes in a number of days due to either fear or constant rocket barrages that are coming out from Gaza. At the beginning of the conflict, our teams, our volunteers are, like you said, are spread across the country. So volunteers that lived in the Gaza periphery were the first ones that met with the violence together with the other residents there. Some of them suffered injuries, some even severe injuries. One of them was held hostage by Hamas terrorists. We actually just found out that one of them has been unfortunately killed. He was missing for a number of days, and they just found his body today and identified him. And unfortunately, he was killed and murdered by Hamas terrorists themselves. They weren't specific about who they were attacking. That particular volunteer happens to be Muslim living from Nazareth. He was part of the music festival that everyone's heard about already. And once the attacks started, they relayed back to dispatch everything that was going on. We mobilized 1,500 volunteers to send to the Gaza periphery to support the rescue efforts that were going on, that are continuing to go on. And our volunteers are still there going door to door with ambulances, helping out whenever rockets strike, giving out equipment and supplies, humanitarian aid, food, water to people. Some of them haven't had electricity for a couple of days, and many haven't even left their homes out of fear or out of just continuous rocket barrages that are going on. That's one aspect.
Sorry, continue.
Okay, so that's one aspect of what we're doing. The other one, of course, was we set up medical clinics throughout the Gaza periphery to treat the wounded that were coming out. And we're still continuing to do that in support of the IDF, and we're working together with the IDF medical units to support the soldiers and the effort that's going on there now.
So your organization is a volunteer-based organization. I got to tell you, when I'm listening to everything that you're talking about right now, what I'm thinking is, this is the sort of stuff that you would think the government would be doing at this point. It sounds like these are crucial services that you're providing to your fellow Israelis.
That's definitely true. They are crucial services, and they're something that we've learned to do over many years that we've been in existence. We've become very kind of experts at the field of emergency medical services, both in Israel and abroad. We've gone on numerous international rescue missions, most recently in Morocco, I think about a month ago, where we sent a team to set up medical clinics after the earthquakes took place. Unfortunately, we're not supported by the government. We recognized that there was a need to support the government services that are in existence already in Israel in terms of delayed response times. Our organization was founded on the idea of having emergency medical responders show up at the scene of a medical emergency, whatever it happened to be, whether someone who was sick or falls or breaks an arm or CPR or, God forbid, even a terror attack, within less than 3 minutes.
Wow.
And that's something which we've managed to do. And in major cities now, we're so quick, we do it in less than 90 seconds.
Wow.
And that's thanks to the network of volunteers that's across the country. We have 7,000 volunteers. We're all trained at a moment's notice to drop whatever they're doing, respond to a medical emergency, treat the person who's there who needs help. When the ambulance arrives, we work together with the ambulance team to stabilize them, pass them off to the ambulance, and then they get taken to the hospital. So we cut down that response time to as minimum as possible so the person can get immediate help. And because of that, we're very, very good at mobilizing very quickly. So that's what happened here as well. By already mid-Saturday morning, we had hundreds of volunteers already in the Gaza periphery. And by the afternoon, we already had 1,500. And people are now cycling in and out to go home and visit their families and then come back the next day. It's been an ongoing process.
So, Rafael, what can people do who are not where you are, but who are perhaps watching this here in the United States or around the world? What can they do to help support your efforts?
Well, the most important thing that we need right now, we have the people on the ground to do what needs to be done. But we ran out of supplies. We've resupplied, and we're quickly running out of those. So the most important thing that people can do right now is help us get supplies. And the best way to do that is to do it locally. There's so much difficulty with customs from getting it from other countries that the best thing to do is do it locally. So to support us, the best thing is to donate on our website at www.israelrescue.org and help us with finances in order to be able to purchase the supplies locally so that we can get them to the people who need it as quickly as possible and save more lives.
Really, really impressive, amazing work that you're doing. Raphael Posh, thank you so much.
Thank you.